KareyBrown, broker owner, Realty Executives, and I am here today with Chris Burk with Housing and Credit Counseling. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
So I was just telling him this isn't necessarily very formal. We're sitting on a couch in my office. I have a pillow, and my feet don't touch the floor. So there's the highlights of the day so far. We're going to be going through all the great things that Housing and Credit Counseling does. If you've heard me on the radio at all, you know that I'm a pretty big fan. We tell everybody about you on social media and everything because they do so many wonderful things for people. So we're going to start going through all the great things that they do. So you're a buyer and you have no idea what your credit score is, but you're kind of concerned and you want to check it out before you get ready to buy. What would you say would be the first thing they would do whenever they come to you?
Well, yeah, the first thing is the credit. We need to know where you're at and that magic number, the credit score. Some folks pull their credit reports on their own ahead of time and bring them in, and we kind of help them decipher the credit language that are on that report. Some folks use annualcreditreport.com, not a bad site. It gets you all the information you need from all three bureaus. A lot of folks nowadays are also using creditkarma.com. That seems to be pretty accurate, but it just covers TransUnion and Equifax credit bureaus. There's also Experian. At our agency, we can pull the Experian credit report. It counts as a soft hit, meaning that it doesn't hurt your credit score. It's not a hard inquiry. And it contains your FICO score, which is one of the big ones that banks like to look at, is your FICO score. And so that's the main thing, is to see what that magic number is and where you're at.
Okay, so you pull it and your credit score is not good. What's the next step?
Well, the next thing is deciphering what is on that report and what's causing that score to not be as high as you would like it to be. Is it a matter of that you have some past due accounts, and it's a matter of just getting payment arrangements or pay extra to get that caught up? Do you have credit cards that are almost maxed out? If you're maxed out, that hurts your credit score. In theory, you should only be using about 30% of your actual credit limit on those credit cards. And so many of us are halfway there or almost maxed out, and so that's affecting your score as well. Even though you're making consistent monthly payments, your score is not good enough because you're so close to being maxed out. We'll also see if you have any collection agencies. That is a real killer to your credit score, and those need to be paid as soon as possible so you can start getting points back to your credit score.
So another fun one is what if you don't have any credit at all?
I see that a lot in the bank's eyes. Sometimes that's, they can't tell how good of a risk you're going to be at paying back their bills. So sometimes you have to establish credit. You have to play the game, so to speak. And so some folks will end up getting a secured credit card perhaps to start building their credit history. Some may have a family member or a friend that will co-sign a small loan, for example, and they use that money to pay the loan back month after month to build up a history. And some banks, along with starting to build your credit like that, may look at the non-traditional types of credit as well that you have, because if you're paying utility bills, car insurance, cell phone bill, things like that, in a way that's kind of credit, and they can kind of honor that as well.
Okay, and so how long does it take to get your credit score up once you guys work your magic?
That is the million-dollar question right there. There's so many factors involved, and people always tell me or ask me what's the fastest way to raise my credit score. Well, I have to tell them take the word fastest out of that sentence there, because it's not a fast process. It could take up to 6 months to raise your score 20 or 30 points.
Wow.
Yeah. In some cases.
Okay. So say for instance you pay off anything that's on your credit report and then now you have like no revolving line of credit. What would you say would be the next step?
Well, so they've paid off their credit cards, you're saying?
Yes.
We always suggest don't close those accounts. Keep that open and that history there for them to look at. But if you paid off your credit cards, the next thing is to see how that's affected your score from when you started to where you're at now. And if it's up where it probably should be, then you could go visit with the bank then and see what they say about approval. Different banks have different criteria on what they're going to say the score needs to be. They look at so many other factors along with the score. They look at your pay history and how long you've had credit and things of that nature. But if you're in the high 600s or low 700s, that's a good number to shoot for, and then go visit with your bank.
Okay. And how did they get a hold of you?
The best way to do is just call us here in Topeka. It's 785-234-0217.
And if you want to buy or sell a house, give us a call. 785-213-5188.